This is your boy T, and with me is B. I know you can't see him right now. He's
But you can hear me though.
yeah,
I'm right here.
he's invisible at least for the time being. But we'll get him on shortly. He's in his car on his way back to his studio, so we're gonna give him some time and some grace. And I'm hoping y'all have some grace with me too. If I sound like I've got a balloon in my nose, it's because I don't know. I picked up some type of sickness or cold or some crap. So forgive me. But we're gonna struggle on through no matter what, because we had a great week of sports. A lot of stuff happening, both NFL and NBA, which we will get into. And before I move on, just want to make sure folks know, if you enjoy what you're hearing, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit the notification button. Go ahead and hit the like button. We appreciate it. Especially if you're a subscriber and you're listening, go ahead. It doesn't take but a couple of seconds. Just hit the like button. It's really easy. You push it, thumbs up. It's great. We appreciate it. So without further ado,
Yeah,
let's jump right into it. B, we know you're in the car, but how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good, man. On my way home from work. If y'all don't know, this is why we are just two average guys who talk sports. One is sick, the other one's coming from work. Yet we want to share our thoughts of the sports world this week. So I'm feeling good, man. I'm living life here. So I hope you feel better, though, man.
Yeah, man. You know, it was started off pretty rough this morning, but I'm feeling a little better. But you know how it is with colds. As soon as it gets past like 8 o'clock, it's gonna get worse. So I'm just bracing for it. You know, I don't got too much medication in me right now, but just enough. So we're gonna get through this. Oh man. Well, we're gonna start off in the NFL, man. I mean, we got to right. It's Sunday, so we're gonna start with our favorite teams as always, and I gotta start with my Las Vegas Raiders, who, well, let's start with the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo did not, he wasn't able to play this week due to being in concussion protocol. So your boy O'Connell comes in. I almost called him McConnell. O'Connell comes in, the rookie quarterback, showed some life in the preseason. So I think this was a great opportunity for him to show some of his stuff. And, he didn't do too bad. I mean, the Raiders did lose by a touchdown to the Chargers. The game did not look very pretty throughout most of the game until it got to the bitter end where the Raiders finally made a run and had an opportunity to tie this game late. Unfortunately, they couldn't get it done. Rookie quarterback threw an interception. The Raiders got one more crack at it, and they did get one more crack at it. Excuse me. The Chargers were able to run the clock out after that. I take that back.
Yeah.
So but to be I talked about this before, Jimmy G, and he's had some issues with injury. I know we're not trying to put the injury-prone label on him. I'm going to admit it right now. He's better than this guy. I'll say that. However, the trajectory of the Raiders, rather it be with Jimmy G or with McCannell or O'Connell, I don't see it being. I don't see him being an upward trajectory. I still think this is a bottom of the AFC West team. B.
Yeah, well, and O'Connell, we talked about it. We talked about it earlier before we got on the show,
Yeah.
but they were not going to run the ball today.
No.
He threw for what? He threw over 40
He
times,
threw
right?
39 times. Let's just round it up to 40. Yeah.
Threw 40 times, completed 24 of his
24.
passes.
Yep.
24, not a bad outing for a rookie against a pretty. I'm not saying it's a world, top notch defense to say the least, but you really put a lot of trust in your quarterback in a spot to trust receivers and the tight ends, and that's a lot to ask for a rookie quarterback, because we all know in the league you need to develop relationships on the field with these guys. You need to know their routes. You need to know when they're going to get into their break. All of that timing comes down due to practice, and quite frankly, it's not like O'Connell was playing in the preseason with these with that core
The
there.
starters. Yeah.
So for him to go out there on a week's notice and go and get those reps and complete just about 50% of his passes, there's a plus sign. The downfall to it is that you still can't trust him to try to salvage the season. You did pay Jimmy G, so you got to ride with Jimmy G.
Yep.
But this could cause a little bit of a quarterback talk inside of the Raiders locker room. Because if Jimmy G starts to struggle again, and he's known to do it, and after what they've seen from this guy, what are they? Are they going to say, "Hey, this season's a wash. We're going to run with this rookie quarterback," and
Well,
kind of go from there?
Well, I think that's the question. I think a lot of it is going to have to do with their record. I mean, right now they've only
Yeah,
won one game, so they're 1-3. Let's say that Jimmy G comes back and they end up losing the next two games. With Jimmy G as the starter, then yeah, you got to start thinking. Well, if we're 1-6, 1-5, we're probably not going to make the playoffs unless something spectacular happens. And maybe it is an opportunity to take a look at the young guy and see if they can start building towards the future. Now, that kind of sucks for Jimmy G. He's been in this situation before, but the bottom line is where he was with the 49ers is not the same with the Raiders. The Raiders are not in that position. The Raiders are trying to tread water here. They're trying to be a 500 ball club at best. And so if they can't be a 500 ball club with Jimmy G, then what's the point? You know what I mean? Like, what's the point of having a veteran quarterback
exactly.
in there if we're not even going to win half of our games? We might as well throw the rookie in there, see if he can show you something, and then start preparing for the next rookie quarterback. I.e., Caleb Martin, to come through the door. If you end up bottoming out this season.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can ask yourself, Caleb Martin will be the number one pick
Yeah.
coming into this draft, barring any freakish accident or anything like that. He will be the number one pick. So, at that point, when are you willing? Because we all know teams tank to get that draft pick.
Yeah.
That is 100% clear. It's clear in the NBA and it's clear in the NFL. So, are the Raiders going to be willing, if they do not win these next two games, to start the rookie quarterback for the rest of the year, eat that Jimmy G contract, and make a run at Caleb Martin? It's crazy to say at this
I
point in the year.
mean,
We're only 4 games in, but
I,
you're a quarter of the way through the season.
I think you have to. And the reason I say that is because, we talked about this before the show. McDaniels doesn't have a lot of time to figure this out. The one thing that a good rookie quarterback can do is buy him some time. Okay? But if
Yep.
he sticks with Jimmy G and they don't get any young talent in there and he goes and they only win 3 games or 4 games this season, yeah, I mean, it's not going to look. And then, he goes up to the podium to start next season, go, Jimmy G's our starter. Yeah, that guy, he's probably going to get fired after that season. So I think it makes a lot of sense for them to say, let's not necessarily tank, but let's put the rookie in there and see what he can do. Which is kind of like tanking, but not really, and try to see if they can get the top pick. And the great thing is teams like the Texans and the Colts, they've already picked and the Panthers, they've already picked their quarterbacks, right? So you're not necessarily
Mm-hmm.
those teams aren't looking to tank. I think a couple of those teams are 2-2, if I'm not mistaken. I think the Texans. So those teams, they're still trying to compete because they're already working with their future. So the Raiders do have an opportunity to slide themselves into that spot. Get someone flashy. USC's not that far from Vegas. LA's not that far from Vegas. Obviously, you can pull some of that weight that he brings to your ball club and yeah, promote the crap out of them and put them on the field. No, I'm all for that, to be honest. Especially if they're going to keep playing like this.
So we're gonna make this clear. T is all for tanking for Caleb Martin.
That's right. That's right.
Is that what we're going with there?
Yeah, I mean, now wait, hold on. Let me stop for a second, okay? I'm saying, I also said that if they get to a place to where they're the next 2 or 3 games, let's say they lose those next 2 or 3, or they lose 2 of the next 3, or 3 of the next 4. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much a quarter of the season, almost halfway through the season at that point. And if you've only won one game halfway through the season, yeah, yeah, why not? I mean, you're already tanking at that point. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't see the point where Jimmy G's gonna bring them back. No, Jimmy G doesn't have the same run game or offensive system that he had in San Francisco. They're literally asking him to step back and throw the ball 40 times a game, and that's just not. I don't. In my heart of hearts, or at least from watching him play, I don't think that's not his skill set.
Nope, not at all. Well, unless he had the weapons for it, but he ain't got the weapons in Las Vegas
Yeah,
like he did in San Francisco. So
no,
it's
not
gonna
at
be a
all, man.
completely different story.
And not at all. Oh, and did I mention that The ex-Raider Khalil Mack had 6 sacks today.
My boy was eaten today,
I mean, you
literally.
you think he has a grudge? You think he had an axe to grind? I think so, man. He was probably like, man, I'm about to kill the Raiders because he didn't ask to be traded. That was John Gruden. I don't even remember what they
You
traded
know,
him for. Some draft picks.
and the one guy who didn't want to leave that organization, right? The one guy who didn't want to leave the organization was let go, and so he's holding a grudge until he retires. Plain and
He
simple.
should. He should. I'm not mad at him, man. He was a great player for us. He was a,
100%.
he was a, he was an
All
all
right,
star.
I'm going through a spot here. I'm gonna lose a little reception.
All right. Well, while B's going through some reception issues, well, wait. I guess he's going through a tunnel. I still hear him though. So we'll actually
No, I'm here.
perfect. Well, also let's move on to the Ravens. Let's move on to your team, man. So the
Yeah.
Ravens, there's going to be a whole lot to talk about, folks. I'm just going to put it like that. The Ravens destroyed the Browns. The Browns got the butts kicked, 28-3. Lamar Jackson did what he should do, and against a team, especially having this team be. This is also a division, a team within the same division. So you need to make sure you beat them down. The other being the terrible Bengals. Don't even get me started on how terrible my Jamar Chase pick was in my fantasy game right now, killing me, man. Oh
He
my
sure
gosh.
is.
Um.
He
So
sure
so.
is.
So yeah. Anyway, getting back to the game. So, anything about the game today that kind of struck you as standing out? In my book, I didn't really get a chance to watch it. I saw some of the highlights. It just looked to me like the Browns were overmatched, especially with the Ravens' defense, just kind of pummeling them.
I think you're. This is. I know it's early, but now you know who's at top of that pecking order. There, it's the Baltimore Ravens. They have gone on the road twice against division opponents and them,
Yeah,
beaten them,
absolutely.
and that's big. And the Browns' defense has been actually pretty damn good, to say the least. I think everyone can agree they've actually had a pretty solid
Yeah.
defense
They
to
have
start the year with.
Miles Garrett.
And
Yeah,
the Ravens came in, dropped 28, and said, "Timeout. We've got the best defense," and held them to 3 points today. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So I like this was a good statement win for the Ravens. It's week 4, but when you've already played half of your division early in the season and you've beaten them already, you're establishing that, hey, we're going to be the top dog in this division here, and there's nothing you guys can do about it. So I'm
right.
happy with this win. Lamar did everything he needed to do to win this game. Zay Flowers is starting to become the real deal for him. And this is buying time for OBJ to really not have to rush about coming back because they found something in Zay Flowers. Kind of like the same with the Rams, who found something in Nakua. The
Yeah,
Ravens have found their guy
yeah,
in Zay Flowers here. So this is
absolutely.
buying time. This is building a great relationship with Lamar as well. So I'm happy for this win. It's a great win for the Ravens to get early division wins because it just sets the tone. So
Yeah, well,
I really don't have any complaints about this dub,
yeah, man.
man.
I mean, well, Mark Andrews, you're tied in with 2 TDs on 80 yards, led everybody with
Yeah,
receiving. One thing I really liked was seeing Lamar Jackson get touchdown throws in the red zone. That's always great to
thank
see
God.
because
Yes, he brought that up.
when you get in the red zone, oh man, he likes to throw, he likes to fire the ball in those tight spaces, and is notorious for getting picked off in the red zone. So it was kudos
For
to
no
him.
reason.
That's cool.
For no reason he's forcing those throws.
Yeah,
And you
man.
bring up a great point in that there. And that's the maturity that you're starting to see in Lamar Jackson. It was slowly starting to develop in this season here, but you're really starting to kind of take place because he's not forcing errant throws, to say the least. He's using his legs to get out of a lot of bad situations here.
Right.
The fumbles, the ball placement, that's still a problem. But I'll take the growth right now that we're seeing from him
Yep.
to try to start eliminating a lot of that there. So I'll take that all day there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, man. I think I'm right there with you. Like I said, man, it's good to see. I hope he keeps it up. Oh man, so now let's talk about another local team, at least to where we are, and that's the San Francisco 49ers. So the 49ers handle business again, 35-16 over Arizona. We're going to talk about a couple of things in this game. I want to start with McCaffrey, man. The dude has
Jesus.
459 yards rushing and 6 touchdowns through what, 4 games?
4 games.
What
Four
in the
games.
world? This guy is on his way to being 1,000 yard rusher easily. And I mean, what are we looking? 12? He's going to be double digit touchdowns. 12, maybe
Does he
even
get to 20?
15, maybe even 20 touchdowns, like you just said. I mean, he's having a heck of a year, and that was some trade that they pulled off where they sent the Panthers a third round draft pick. I don't know.
to pick up the best running back in the league right now.
God.
You know what I'm saying? The dual threat. Dude, let's just put it like this. I'm not shocked that McCaffrey's doing these kind of things because I got a chance to watch him at Stanford, and he did it a lot out there. So I'm not shocked that he's doing it, but the fact that he's been able to stay healthy, because that was the one thing that was a big question when the Niners traded for him, was how healthy was he going to be? Dude, you're seeing every single potential. The guy has scored a touchdown in 16 straight games.
Yeah.
16 straight games he has put the ball in the end zone. You know what I'm saying? He just passed Jerry Rice for the all-time record in Niner history as far as consecutive games with the touchdown there. So that's a big mark.
Yeah.
And we all know Jerry Rice is the guy
the GOAT.
in San for the Niners when it comes to the record book. So for you to pass him speaks volume.
Absolutely.
You know, and especially in a day and age where we all know running backs aren't really appreciated, he's appreciated, you know, in this system here. So, you know,
yeah,
it's great to watch.
Yeah, he's killing it, man. He's putting together an all-star, Pro Bowl, Hall of Fame type season. We'll see how it goes. And then to top it all off, Ayuk returns to the field, puts up 148 yards receiving. Arizona didn't have a chance. So honestly, I don't think anybody anticipated Arizona winning. However, I will say they did keep it close. And one thing I like to talk about is the fact that Dobbs has been playing pretty good. And that he's come in as a rookie. Obviously, Kyler Murray is out with injury and didn't do too bad. 28 for 41, 265, 2 touchdowns. And the way we kind of watch Kyle Murray fizzle out over the past 2 years, because it wasn't just last year when he got injured. It was the year before that, whenever they started off their season like 9-1 or some crap like that, and they just fizzled out the rest of the season. I don't know. I feel like maybe there's some wiggle room for a change for the Arizona Cardinals. Dobbs have an opportunity to compete for that starting job? However, I in my heart of hearts, I think Kyler Murray is going to get another opportunity when he gets healthy. But if this kid continues to play well and they are at least a serviceable team or in playoff contention, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think Dobbs is starting to earn a little respect inside of that locker room. It all started last week with the comeback win against or beating the Cowboys, to say the least, because we all saw what the Cowboys did to the Patriots today, to say the least.
Thank you.
So to orchestrate that win against one of the league's best defenses was promising. Now, obviously, it was a different story today here, but I like what Dobbs brings to Arizona here. A lot of potential, but they've also got some pretty good weapons around him. Marquise Brown, who was drafted by the Ravens, Michael Wilson, who came from Stanford, Zach Ertz, a veteran tight end for him as well. There's some weapons that he could really grow with and potentially really take that starting job away from Murray. And Murray's had every opportunity to do that, and he's let opportunities go to the wayside. They started the season 8-0 2 years ago, and then didn't make the playoffs after that. So, those are the things that are just, when they look at it, they're like, man, we may not have to do so much of a development because Dobbs is he's learning on the fly there. So I think there's going to be another quarterback controversy as time goes on in Arizona.
Yeah.
As soon as Murray gets back, if Arizona gets on a 2-game winning streak and gets over 500, that's going to be a big question that they got to ask themselves. Do we ride the hot hand, or do we bring in our 5-4 quarterback?
Yeah, absolutely. And then it puts you in a position where when we get into this offseason, maybe you start hearing trade talks, and things like that can come up pretty quickly. And Arizona could say, you know what? We suck, just like I was talking about the Raiders. We're already sucking as it is. Let's just start kind of kickstart in a different direction. I mean, they did draft this quarterback, so it's not like they don't have that in the back of their mind. I mean, if they didn't think, if they thought
Yeah,
Kyler Murray was the end all be all, they would have never drafted Dobbs.
yeah, and honestly, I know Caleb Martin is the talk of the town, but Marvin Harrison Jr. from Ohio
Ooh,
State
yeah,
is a man that needs to be thought of when it comes to the draft. You could have three best wide receivers, but if that kid's available, just watch his college highlights. It's out of this world. He belongs in the
you know who
NFL
his
right now.
daddy
But
is.
yep, Marvin Harrison, wide receiver for the
That's
Colts.
right.
I honestly think just watching him play right now, everyone's going to say it, but he's got the potential to be better than his dad was able to do in the
He's
NFL. That's
bigger. He
how
looks
he
bigger.
is spoken
Yeah.
about. Dude, he's larger
Yeah.
than what his dad was. It's crazy.
Oh man. Oh man. So let's move on to a couple of notable games I want to talk about. One is the Commanders and the Eagles. Yes, that's right. I said it. The Commanders and the Eagles. So coming in, the Commanders are not a hot topic, but I really want to talk about what they've done and how this team has changed its identity over the past 2 years or so. Obviously, it's not just the name change, but also the addition of Juan Rivera and one of my guys, a local Bay Area guy who actually went to, I think he went to Hayward. Did he go to Hayward High School? Or he from Hayward, Jack Del Rio.
Yes.
Former Raider. So these guys have taken over, and this team is starting to look a lot better. Howell was out there just slinging the thing. I mean, the kid has
Mhm.
no fear. He's just throwing the ball, he's scrambling, throwing the ball 30, 40 yards down the field, doesn't care who's in front of him. Ultimately, though, the Eagles defense won out, and they were able to get a field goal to win in OT. But B, I gotta say, man, I really like the Commanders, and I feel like they're making the NFC East that much more competitive.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't for the New York Giants, to be honest with you, with their
Yeah,
slow start,
yeah,
you could honestly possibly say the NFC East earned that. I mean, we all hate to say it, but they've earned that title of being the toughest division.
yeah.
You have one of the best defense in the league in the Cowboys. You have the Eagles, who are the defending NFC champions.
Mhm.
You have Washington, who's coming around. Dude, I love what Washington is doing.
Yeah,
You hit everything right on the head. Sam Howell, Ron Rivera, Jack Del Rio, Brian Robinson Jr.,
yeah,
Scary Terry McLaurin. I mean, we could go on about this team. And for them to trust Sam Howell, the rookie quarterback, dude, he is really good. And here's the best part: the way they bounced back from getting their asses handed to them in Buffalo to how they performed against the Eagles. That is a
right.
sign of a team that is taking the next steps. Is they got their asses handed to them, but they came out and handled business. Did they end up winning the game today?
No. So they went into overtime. So they went into OT, and the Eagles won by a field goal in overtime. So
See,
Washington got the
a
ball,
field
got the
goal.
ball first. The Eagles defense got them in the foreign, got the ball back to the Eagles offense. Eagles offense got close enough to kick that field goal, and that was the game. So this was a highly contested game. They went down to the wire. As a matter of fact, they got into overtime at the very end of regulation. So Howell was out there doing some work in crunch time, and so I've really sat down and watched the Commanders, but this gave me an opportunity to sit down and watch them, and yeah, man, they look like a legit team. They look like a team that's hungry, that's actually out there competing. They don't care who they're playing against, and we talked about it before the show, and just kind of doubling back to the Raiders and how I thought it was a huge mistake for the Raiders to fire or get rid of Jack Del Rio and replace him with John
Yeah.
Gruden. I thought Del Rio had a great season the season before with the Raiders, and they just kind of gave up on him to bring in a splashy sign because Gruden was in the press box doing commentating. And so I thought that was a
Yep.
mistake. I really like Del Rio. I think he's a great coach, going all the way back to when he was with the was he with the he was with the Ravens, right? Was the Ravens?
Ravens, Jacksonville.
Jaguars. There you go. Yep.
Yeah, I think he spent some time in Denver too, if I
Yes, he
remember.
did. Yeah.
I could be wrong on
So
that, but
he's a good defensive coach.
yeah,
Yeah. And so
yep.
so yeah, but in any case, I'm becoming a believer. I will be checking in on the Commanders now and again so I can see how well they play definitely won't be watching any Giants games. So and on to the next game, we got the super duper califragilistic Miami Dolphins against the Buffalo Bills. And I don't know what happened, but that I guess there's no seawater in Buffalo because the Dolphins stalled out. They got beached. It was rough. Josh Allen went out there and had one of the most efficient games I've ever seen. 21 for 25, 320 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He only threw the ball 25 times. All these other quarterbacks we've been talking about have at least thrown the ball 30, and he went out there and put a nice little bow on his game. And, of course, his main target was none other than Stephon Diggs, who went berserk. 6 receptions, 123 TDs. Oh, man.
Mhm.
The Dolphins' defense didn't have an answer. They couldn't get to the quarterback in time, and Diggs was just finding himself open on a regular.
Dude, I don't know. There's something about Buffalo that the Dolphins cannot figure out.
Yeah.
Because every time they go up there, it is an ass whooping and a half, to say the least.
It's the weather.
for the Dolphins. But you see, this is in October. This is the first week of October.
Yeah.
You can't blame the weather.
That's
It
true.
ain't snowing up there just
Not
yet.
yet.
And you don't have to go back up there. The Dolphins come down, or the Bills will go down to Miami towards the end of the year. So there was no chance. But I don't know if it was a hangover from 72.
Probably.
Maybe y'all should have saved a little bit for this game. Whatever the case may be, dude, you can't come flat.
Dude, I want to speak on that real quick. They got a young coach who's obviously out there telling them to just run through a wall, and that's what they're doing. But I think what he should have done was pulled out the backups earlier in that game and give his guys a breather. Because running up to 70 points, that's cute and everything, but they came back in this game and got blasted. And Miami's always been like this. Miami needs home field advantage. they gonna need it because they play in the East and they're the only team that's in Miami. They're in the South. So for them to go up there and have to play against the Buffalo Bills or the Bengals or whoever it is, that's tough sledding for a team from Miami. They need to get home field.
What we're referring to is temperature-wise.
Yes.
I spent most of the time in South Beach in 75 to 85 degree weather, and then they're going up to New England on a November evening, cold as hell.
Yeah.
Dude, it don't work like that. Once you've been in warm weather and you get yourself used to it, you don't want to leave it again. And then you're gonna go play in the cold weather and get smacked around.
Yeah,
that's why they always finish on the downfall there. But I guarantee you, the Dolphins will lose the next 6 games, and then they'll go on like a 10-game winning streak like they normally do towards the end of the year. It never fails.
They're gonna be a wild card team. Yep.
Exactly.
Well, we'll see. I guess we found Tyreek Hill's kryptonite. It's cold weather.
Cold weather.
That's right. Yeah, he's Superman except for whenever he's got to play in just above North Carolina. Once we get above the northern states, it's over. Oh man! All right, well let's go over to our pick of dummies, folks. If you haven't had a chance to watch the video, we do a video every single week on Friday. We did it live this week, but generally we do a video. We put it up on YouTube for you to take a look at, and we picked 3 games against the spread in the NFL. This week I was terrible. My only win was I picked Minnesota. I picked Minnesota to cover, and they did that because I figured they would, seeing as how they're 0-3.
What was the score?
20 to 13. Hold on, let me check it out. It was 21 to 13. Okay. And then I got to look up my other picks because I don't know why I didn't write them down. I don't even remember.
I wrote mine down, but that's the house, but I don't think I had a good shot.
Well, we're both in the same damn boat then. That works for me. No, not that one. There we go. All right. So I picked Pitt to win. Ugh, wow, that was bad. Pitt did not cover. They got destroyed. Their starting quarterback went down, which caused that. And then, of course, silly me, I picked Miami and the points at 2.5, and well, We just talked about how that went. So yeah, I didn't do too well at all. I completely forgot about the weather, and I wasn't anticipating that the Texans would show up and show out, and that's what they did. Good for them.
Here's what we know about you, and if you ever started gambling, is you let it ride, sir, because you took the Commanders 2 weeks
I
ago.
did.
They covered and then proceeded to get their asses whooped by the
Yeah.
Bills. Miami covers and then proceeds the following week to get their
I don't know if it's me or them.
as
I can't
well.
tell. I don't
I
know.
mean, gambling wise, you want to let it ride because you go with it. But I mean, I guess
It didn't
you may
work.
have to start going. Whatever team covers for you, you need to pick the opposite the next week.
You know what? Truer words were never spoken. I definitely need to get on that. Oh man. Well, let's.
I gotta look back at my picks. Honestly,
I
I
didn't write them
probably
down.
lost. I can't
It's
remember
all
them.
good, man.
I wouldn't have written them down either.
Well, we're gonna change sports right now because there was some big news out of the NBA, very close to
Yes.
training camp. I believe media day is tomorrow, so we're gonna start to see more news and more pictures of folks in new uniforms, and interviews and all this flowery garbage before guys actually start playing. But Damian Lillard has finally been traded, or was finally traded to the Milwaukee Bucks to play with Giannis Antetokounmpo. The trade involved three teams. The Dame went to the Bucks. Uh, Aiton went to the Blazers from the Suns. Drew Holiday went from the Bucks to the Blazers, and the Suns got Joseph Nurkic, Grayson Allen, some other two guys that aren't that important from the Blazers. Or excuse me, they got Grayson Allen from the Bucks, and they got Joseph Nurkic from the Blazers. I'm not even going to ask who won this trade because that's a dumb question. Milwaukee by far is going to be a team to contend with, but well, no, actually, first I'm gonna let you comment on that first, and then I'm gonna come in with something that was on my mind.
I was shocked by this because all this entire time that Damian asked for the trade, all we've been hearing was the Miami Heat.
Right.
There was no other team involved that made sense for him to go to. So when I got the news, I was shocked because it was the last thing that I had expected. Even this is coming off of the heels that when Giannis came out and said, "You guys better start doing something or else I'm out."
Right.
Kind of it basically
Right.
is what he said. So
Boy, did they.
this is a great pickup for Milwaukee. I don't think it puts them as the favorites, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But this was a big pickup here and a lot of movement. Aiden finally got out of Phoenix. He
Phoenix.
didn't want to be there no
Yeah.
more. And then Drew Holiday, which I wish the Warriors would have went after when they were available. Look, CP3 is nice, but Drew Holiday brings a little more. He's a lot younger, great defender.
Yep.
Can anchor a second unit as well, so then you can keep your quote unquote best five out there in the league for the Warriors and rely on Drew Holiday to anchor that bench there. So that would have been nice, but unfortunately, we're not getting that. Um, so this was a big win for the Bucks. I think it's a big win for Aiden as well. He's out of a situation he doesn't want to be a part of. Poor Drew Holiday seeing two teams in less than 24 hours.
And that's what I wanted to talk about. Obviously, there was a secondary trade that happened, as you just mentioned, with Drew Holiday going to the Celtics for Williams and Malcolm Brogdon from the Celtics back to the Blazers, and I think there was a pick involved as well. But here's my thought: the Dame Lillard trade to play with Giannis is a huge deal. However, the fact that they let Drew get to the Celtics instead of letting him go to a Western Conference team is completely stupid. The fact that you literally gave the antidote to the drug, you gave the antidote to the disease is what you did. You brought on Dame Lillard, but then you traded a guy that can guard Dame Lillard to the second best team in the East. And I don't see that as being, I feel like that's, maybe I'm being a little dramatic, but I feel like that nullifies it, man. I feel like if you're going to take on Dame as being that great of an offensive player, you cannot let Drew Holiday go to one of the top teams in the East because you're gonna have to play him. And I'm
No.
not saying that Drew is gonna shut down Dame, but Drew is the only guy at his size with his strength that can go out and compete against guards one on one and be able to hold his own. So yeah,
Yeah.
man. I mean, you got to think about this. Drew Holiday starting along. They needed a point guard. They lost Marcus Smart. They lost their
Well, he
best.
wasn't a point guard.
Well, he wasn't a
That
point
man
guard,
was not a
but
point
he
guard.
lost.
Let's
I
make
mean, he
that
was
clear.
playing the position, but you're right. He wasn't a point guard. But I guess my point is they lost their best defensive guard, and then they picked up one that was just as good and is a little bit better offensively as a traditional point guard. So
I
I don't know.
I think he's better. I think he's better defensively as well over Damian. But you hit it right. You have to see the Bucks four times.
Yeah.
You got to play the Celtics 4 times, and that doesn't even include a potential 7-game series.
Yeah.
You let a guy who has everything about your team that didn't really change get information over to the Celtics here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And in all honesty, I still don't think Milwaukee has gotten any better. And here's the reason why. When's the last time Damian Lillard played with the star power like Giannis?
Never.
A big man at that.
I mean, very early in his career, he played with LaMarcus Aldridge, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah, but that was a very long time ago. And that project ended up failing because LaMarcus ended up in San Antonio.
Yep.
So how is he going to be able to get in sync with Giannis when he needs the ball in his hand? But yet I think Giannis is that guy. Damian Lillard doesn't have a high assist rate. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to have to change his game because you cannot go isolation and keep Giannis out of the rotation when it comes to touching the ball there. So how is he going to do that?
It's going to require Giannis to change his game. Giannis isn't really he does it, but he's not really a screen and roll guy. He's more of a guy who likes to catch the ball. He likes to face up, get downhill, and get to the rim. That's his strong point. His jumper has gotten better, but even when he's shooting a jumper, it's not coming off of a pick. He's catching the ball, jabbing and shooting. So, yeah, he's going to have to change his game and become a little bit more of a pick and roll big. And so hopefully that works out. They have enough time in the season. There's a long season to figure that out. But ultimately, yeah, Giannis is going to have to change his game up a little bit.
But there's going to be pressure for them to figure it out as well, because we all know when it comes to making these kind of superstar deals, everyone expects for it to get going right away here.
Right.
You and I have seen our teams make blockbuster deals to bring players in. Sometimes it takes a while to get it going.
Yeah.
Training camp is one thing, but once the lights are on you and you're on that court center stage, it's a different story here. So I think they're gonna have to find a way to get it going. Otherwise, a lot of questions will be raised about bringing Damian Lillard over to Milwaukee. But
yeah,
I mean, shit, good for the Bucks.
Yeah, good for them, man. It's that like I said, as long as they didn't help the Celtics out too much, I think they'll be all right. I mean, the Celtics, they'll be okay. I mean, they got Kristaps Porzingis. I don't know how great of a fit that's going to be, honestly. But you still got now you got a three-headed monster in your backcourt with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, and then you add Drew Holiday to that. That's a pretty athletic and pretty good defensive group too. So yeah, man, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to watch.
That backcourt is gonna be pretty lethal there. That means Drew or Brown or Tatum do not have to worry about having the ball in their hand. They will have a facilitator to get them open, and when needed, they will go out and get their own. But they have themselves a legit facilitator to manage that offense.
Absolutely. All right, well, we're going to change gears to another sport and this is your neck of the woods. So, as we know, baseball is coming to the bitter end and we're heading into the postseason. However, unfortunately, the San Francisco Giants will not be there. After having a pretty good run midway through the season and making some headway, they unfortunately slid and fell right back into ambiguity.
They face planted in dog crap like that. All right, and they went out and face planted in dog crap. So I'm gonna get this out of my system now. First of all, this team wasn't supposed to contend. So the way they ended the season is probably the way they should have played all season. The problem is when you get into August and you've only got 2 months of baseball and you are leading the wild card and only 2 games behind in your own division, you need to put together anything you can before the trade deadline to make sure that you can contain winning and give yourself an opportunity to make the playoffs here. The Giants decided not to do that. Farhan has got to be the most cheapest guy I have ever met in my life. If I had $400 million in my bankroll, or if I even had a farm system that was doing well, I am giving up my farm system and I'm going after somebody who's going to help get my team over that hump and compete with a team that has won 12, 11 division titles out over the last 12 years. And that's the goddamn Los Angeles Dodgers. And they won another one this year. And the Giants had every opportunity to compete with them, and they chose not to. And then on Friday, what do they go out and do? They find someone who could be the scapegoat, and they fire their manager.
Yeah.
Which was the worst thing I could ever imagine. They told him fall on the sword, so then it takes all the pressure off of Farhan, right?
Yeah.
Dude, the guy was given a square and was asked to put round pegs in squares
Yep.
with this team. You can't do that, man. It was the most unfair thing for them to do. And honestly, Farhan needs to go here. They got to find somebody who's going to have the balls to say we're going to go after players and we don't care what the limit is going to be. In a championship market, and yes, the Bay Area is the championship market. With the success that the Warriors had, the one thing the Warriors have always done is they've run the risk of going over the payroll to bring guys in to give themselves a chance to compete at the highest level to continue the championship run. There were 2 bad seasons, but they honestly, you lost Klay Thompson, you lost Steph Curry. The big 3 were not a part of those 2 seasons. Who do they bring in? They brought in Kelly Oubre Jr. They tried D'Angelo Russell, but at least they went out to go get named players to give themselves every opportunity to at least try to make a run at the postseason here. Look at what the Niners are doing up in Santa Clara. They have spent money to construct that team to give themselves every opportunity to win a championship. They've been in 3 NFC championship games. They've been in 1 Super Bowl. So they're on the cusp. And what do? They went out and traded for Christian McCaffrey, right? They said, the hell with our picks. You take him. We're trying to win right now.
Exactly.
And that's all the Giants had to do. Hey, our farm system is starting to develop. There's veterans out there who could get us to where we need to be. Dude, I'd rather win now instead of try to develop. The Giants were a dynasty back in, at the end of 2014, 3 championships in 5 years.
Yep.
Instead of maintaining that, they let it fall completely off the map. They've only had 2 winning seasons since then. And no big name players to show for it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So this offseason, all we've been hearing is we're going to be aggressive. We're going to be aggressive. Nothing is going to stop us. No, Farhan, you're the reason you stop us from even bringing any player in here because you're not willing to take the risk. Yeah, Carlos Correa had an injury to his leg, but if you sign him and he has a breakout career, none of us are talking about it. You go out and sign Aaron Judge and he leads the league in home runs again. No one's talking about the contract. No one cares.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So he's got to go. You got to bring in somebody who's going to say, how negative can I take our bank account to make sure we put a winning product on the field to compete with our rivals to win this game?
Yeah, and I think you make a great point. When you're competing against a team like the Dodgers, and take it from a Lakers fan, all they're going to do is spend money. There really isn't any other option.
Yeah.
And that's what LA does. They're going to buy up every single star they could possibly get their hands on. And if you're going to compete with them, then you're going to have to pull out the pocketbook and spend some money too. Let's not forget that we talked about basketball a little bit, but basketball has a pretty harsh has a salary cap, and there are penalties for going over it. Baseball, not so much. There's really no excuse. It really is just in the hands of the owner and the powers that be to really make the decision to pull out the checkbook, like you said, get some ink on that pen and start signing guys at the amounts needed, not the value of the market, but the amounts needed to sign them.
Exactly. And then on top of that, your president of operations wants to come out and tell everyone, oh, we have $9 beers. Like, that's going to bring me to the game. Come on, man. $9
Dude,
beers don't do
come
it.
on, man.
Winning products brings people to the field. We all know that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to hear, oh, we're going to be aggressive. When I see a player sign his name on that contract and he's wearing a Giants uniform, I'm going to believe it. But until that time, don't say a word until you have a plan together to say we're going to pull out all the stops to make sure we get back to a winning way here. You have to win in this market. The Bay Area is a winning market over the last 10 years. And you're the only team that doesn't want to continue that there. So
Right.
it's been frustrating to see. And the other thing, too, to make a light note of it, the Giants were winning when they had no dumbass patch on their jersey.
Oh my
The
God.
minute they put the stupid ass autonomous cruise patch on their jersey, the season went further south than it could have possibly
It's the
went.
patch.
So screw the cruise patch, rip that shit off, end your sponsorship with them, take everything off of the stadium that belongs to them, and get back to your winning ways.
Oh,
I
man.
don't want to see mediocre baseball anymore. That's not what this team. This is a legendary organization here. One of the first teams in baseball to be out there, from the likes of Willie Mays, Willie McCovey, Juan Cepeda. The list goes on of guys who walked through that building and have built and try to be one of the greatest players of all time. And yet we're bringing the greatest minor league players of all time. Like, no, stop it. I don't want to see this shit no more, man. That's all I gotta say.
And you've heard it.
Instead of playoff baseball, I got frustration off season.
Exactly.
Thanks.
Well, and there it is, folks. The Bees ran out about his Giants.
I'm out of air.
Yeah, hey, man, I feel it. Well, folks, I mean, that's about all we had. Oh my goodness, no, that didn't make it. I'm still watching the Kansas City game. The Jets have made a comeback now. It's 20-20, so that's a tight game all of a sudden. Yeah,
Taylor Swift is going to be in full effect. They're going to come back and win this game. Travis
right.
Kelce is scoring the game-winning touchdown.
She's going to do an impromptu halftime show and change the entire game.
And now that we're talking about this, let me make one thing clear, you little Taylor Swifties. All right? Travis Kelce was already popular amongst a lot of people who watch sports, okay? And the people who watch sports knew who even Taylor Swift was, all right? So for you little punks to come out and say, oh, Swiftie put Travis Kelce on the map, no, she didn't, okay? He was already on the map. You just fail to watch sports to understand it. Right. You can ask the average person. We all understand who Taylor Swift is. She writes a song about every breakup she's ever had. You know what I'm saying?
Travis Kelce is a Hall of Fame tight end.
He's a Hall of Fame tight end. So stop it that they put him on the map. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop, my God. This is wild. Hey, I sent you this video that we're gonna get a little off topic here because we're in the whole YouTube business, but there was a prank that went wrong.
Oh yeah, you say the guy that got okay, go ahead. Yeah, I know Shalom.
Who got shot. This YouTuber was basically harassing the guy, getting up all his face. It was over some audio, right? Mm-hmm. The guy felt threatened, told him to back away, decided he's had enough, pulls out a gun and shoots the YouTuber.
Wow.
He injured him. The guy's fine. But then the kid comes out and says, I'm going to continue to make these kind of videos.
He's going to continue to get shot. Bro, I don't know what to say.
What we're trying to do is, obviously we want to gain a following. We want to gain, subscribers, all of this here. But you got to do it the right way, man. I get it. I love me a good prank. Don't get me wrong. But when you're egging the situation on, you're gonna, as the quote, F around and find out. The guy continued to mess around. He wasn't having it. Yeah. You don't know what kind of day this guy had. Why? The fact that he carried a 9mm on him
means you picked the wrong one.
Speaks volumes. Yeah. he picked the wrong guy to mess with.
Yeah.
And the court backed up the guy who shot him.
Yeah, he's self-defense.
Out of self-defense, and it was.
Well, man, I think one thing, like you mentioned, you talked about doing it the right way. And we're not here to sell our souls for a couple of pieces of bread. And I think a lot of what you see on YouTube and a lot of other places, people are just doing ridiculous things that are outside the norm and outside of normal human behavior.
Yes.
For likes and for views. And so in my book, man, that's not how we roll. You got to be a genuine person through and through. You can't pretend to be or try to pretend to be something else or try to make up some garbage. Like this guy, whoever he is, basically egging people on and pissing them off just so you can watch it. It's ridiculous, and I think people need to take a step back and think about who they are. Have some damn integrity or something. Stop being crazy.
And this isn't coming from an old head kind of thing where you and I are kind of used to a certain way things are done, but dude, there's a moral to everything here, and there's a limit to it because you just don't know what kind of day these kind of people are having here. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
So you just got to be respectful of what you're trying to do and the content that you're trying to put out because he could have easily ended that kid's life. He could have put a bullet in his heart.
yeah. And it would have been
You know
over.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And there would have been nothing that they could have done because they obviously said it was out of self
yeah. It
defense.
would have been
So at that point,
instead of a YouTuber, it would have been a dead tuber. It wouldn't have been.
yeah,
It wouldn't have been good at all. I'm just saying. I mean, if you're gonna do that kind of stuff, you got to take the repercussions with it. And
hmm
I ain't about that life. We ain't about that life. You won't catch me doing anything that makes me look out of character or makes my family look out of
nah.
character. This isn't the Kardashian show. We don't do all that.
Oh, speaking of Kardashians, supposedly
Oh God.
OBJ is linked to Kim Kardashian.
Oh,
Supposedly. So now that shit is gonna curse the Ravens.
oh
I just
man.
remembered that. For God's sakes,
Don't
man.
do it.
Don't
Don't do it, man.
do it,
Don't do
man. It
it.
ain't
It's not worth it.
it ain't worth it.
You're gonna be on
No.
TV for like a year. She's gonna have another baby with you somehow, and then you'll be out on the street. In 6 months after that. So I don't really get it.
I know,
They
man.
gotta leave these people alone. I mean, I'm not trying to be rude, but they're going through black athletes like hotcakes. You know. Uh,
I guess Humphrey counts as a black athlete because he's the only token white boy
yeah,
that fell for that trap.
yeah, I guess so. But it's like all these athletes and stuff that it's really kind of crazy. And I think, a lot of it has to do with their whole lives being on television. And I don't know who wants to participate in that. The Kim K thing is pretty played out. If you're a grown man, obviously,
Yeah.
I don't look at Kim K and go, "Ooh, it's Kim Kardashian." I feel like that story.
Like,
That's
damn again.
yeah, that story kind of came and went some years ago. You know what I mean?
To the quote that train ran through. So
Jesus Christ, that wasn't right. All right.
that
Well,
was a good one. I like that one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, if you see her at a basketball game, run. You know what I mean? Uh,
You see her anywhere and you got millions of dollars, run.
exactly.
Okay? We're telling you first, don't get
That's
involved
right.
with
This
it.
goes out to all the NBA players. They don't date NFL players. NBA
Yeah.
players. Oh no, they do now. Right. I'm sorry. OBJ is the first.
Yeah.
She dated Reggie Bush. What am I talking about? So yeah, all of them. Watch your back.
Rappers too. Ray J.
Rappers. Yeah.
Ray J was the
Big.
first
Was
one.
it Big
Don't
Sean?
do
Big
it.
Sean or someone? I don't know. One of them guys.
Ray J.
No,
He
but there
was
was
Ray
another
J.
rapper that was with the other girl. The other one they stamped. The one of them. I don't know. One of the younger ones. Any case, enough about the Kardashians. Just stay away from them unless you want to end up like Lamar Odom. I love him, but I respect him as a player,
That boy got messed
but he's
up,
messed up
man.
pretty
That
bad.
boy got messed up.
But in any case, I think that's about all we got.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
They're making a Chucky series. What? Have you seen this? They're making about the
mean,
doll, a Chucky series. Like, how many episodes can you do about Chucky?
I don't
You
know.
either
man,
live or you
but
die. If I remember the movie correctly, right?
they did way too many Michael Myers movies. Halloween Ends was Halloween
That's
garbage.
true.
So they leave these alone, man. Leave these classics alone. Just stop.
Yeah, man.
You come up with something creative, let it fail, but don't mess with these, man.
First
Don't mess
off,
with
I
it.
want to point out to all the young people about how y'all just stealing all the stuff that I grew up with and try to pretend like you know something.
Yeah, stop it.
You don't know anything. You don't have a creative bone in your body because you keep making it's all the same stuff. I've already seen it before.
I know.
Oh man. Now we are
man.
starting to sound like old heads. Oh man, well.
I'm all right with it, man. But dude, basketball's right around the corner,
Oh,
man.
I'm ready, man.
I got a notification on my
I'm so
ESPN
ready.
app. First preseason game, October
Next Saturday.
7th.
That's right, October 7th. First preseason game. I get to see the new look Lakers. Gonna get to see most of the guys we already know who they are. Get to see a little bit of Gabe Vincent. Curious to see how Christian Wood looks, how the lineup looks. I doubt LeBron will even play. So it'll be interesting to see how some of the new additions to the Lakers look. I'll be curious to see what's going on with Chris Paul, if he even plays in the preseason, and how he looks.
Get to see the old ass Warriors.
That's right. Canes and all.
Here's what I love about the NBA is their preseason games. You will get some of your top tier athletes out there.
Yeah.
To find their groove. That's kind of the cool thing about the NBA preseason is, they'll get you a full half of basketball, to say the least, and they're giving it during preseason too. Like, they've got to find that stride quick. So NBA preseason is one of the best.
Yeah, absolutely, and not to mention the tickets are still the same price, just like everybody else. But I'm
damn expensive.
Damn expensive. That's right. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a fun season this year. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about, and the fact that we'll have NFL and NBA going on at the same time. Oh man, these shows are going to be fun. They're going to be a lot of fun.
We'll talk about the baseball playoffs too.
Yeah, we will get into the MLB playoffs as well. So I think that's all we got. We want to make sure that you know that we'll be doing another Pick'em Dummies this coming Friday. So make sure you tune in. We're going to be picking 3 more teams. I pick 3, B picks 3, and we'll try to make sure we get the score right this time and know exactly where we stand. And then we also want y'all to get involved and figure out where y'all stand. So again, we appreciate you. If this is your first time listening to us, we appreciate you hitting the subscribe button. Go ahead and give us a like and leave a notification. A little quiet, nothing going on in the chat today. But we gonna get y'all's butts in the chat. Okay, so next time, let's get some participation. I'm calling everybody out. Get into this thing. Get into this conversation. Today was a good show with a lot of things to discuss. The fact that we didn't have anybody else to talk to other than just us, that's not how we want to run our show. We want people involved and in the chat. So let's see if we can get it done next week.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. If you already subscribed, bring some more people into the show here. We greatly appreciate it. And we got some big things happening.
Absolutely. And our sound works, okay, folks? Our sound works.
Yeah.
The sound was perfect today.
We've been talking about this. Right. We've been talking about this big reveal, and it's finally coming to. Absolutely. It's finally going to happen. So we'll let you guys know when that day comes.
Absolutely. All right, folks. Well, y'all have a good evening. We're going to finish up the rest of our night and get some rest and get ready for the wonderful work week tomorrow. Well, not you, B. You don't work tomorrow. But
I'm off tomorrow. Yes, sir.
Well, maybe just me then. Well, in any case, y'all have a wonderful night. Peace.
Later.